So, you're a teenager with a job. Congratulations, you've entered the exciting world of minimum wage, awkward customer interactions, and totally unnecessary life lessons from your 40-year-old manager who treats this like NASA mission control. Welcome to the grind, and by grind, I mean getting yelled at because someone's fries were cold. Teenage jobs suck so much for so many reasons. All of your fire-ups are endlessly trying to find ways to exploit you, and you gotta put up with so much bullshit just because this job experience looks good on your resume. Thinking back to my teenage jobs, I don't think I could be more grateful that YouTube worked out. But first off, let's talk about getting the job. So, you walk into a store with your fresh resume, a resume that says absolutely nothing because, let's face it, the only experience you have is either babysitting or dog walking, but somehow you're expected to write it like you're applying to be the CEO of Apple. Writing resumes in your teens is all about fluffing the absolute hell out of any and all work experience you've had. If you stocked shelves for a grocery store, no. On the resume, you're a product placement specialist and inventory management coordinator. Or if you folded clothes at like Hot Topic, let's try textile display strategist and consumer engagement associate. But let's say you got lucky and the resume you submitted to the job is actually being considered and they want you to go in for an interview. It's so funny because a lot of these jobs need you far more than you need them. You're not relying on the measly minimum wage that you get from working after school hours to afford rent or food. You're just there because the experience is good and mom and dad have stopped paying for your video games. But let's say you're at the interview, they'll hit you with a question, a real head scratcher. This one's a classic. Why do you want to work here? I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know. Money, maybe? Let's start with that. Or how about, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Probably not still folding t-shirts at Gap. That question is so funny. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? It's funny because A, it has nothing to do with your skills or qualifications for the job, and B, there's no way to answer it. You can ask a married 30-year-old that question and he could probably give you a good answer, but the chances the interviewer gets a response other than like, I don't really know, I haven't thought about it, is basically 5%. Most of the time, if you get called in for an interview, you're very likely to have guaranteed the position. The interview is mostly to just see you in person and gauge whether or not you're a psychopath. So if you manage to convince the interviewer that you're not going to rob them, cause a fight with your coworkers, or do any other crazy shit, congrats, you got the job. Now, your first day on the job, they'll throw you on the floor with zero training, expecting you to know everything. Here's the cash register, the inventory system, and by the way, the ice cream machine is broken, so good luck explaining that to customers. And let's not forget the uniform. Why do all teen jobs have the ugliest uniforms on earth? Like, you either look like a highlighter or someone's stepdad at a barbecue. Meanwhile, your coworkers are no help either. There's a guy who's been there for years and hates his life.
I hate this shit, bro. You guys don't pay me enough. Don't pay me enough. I hate this shit.
There's the new girl who acts like she's in charge because she's worked there for 3 weeks longer than you. If none of that resonated with you, I'm just gonna say you got lucky. Most teen jobs are chaotic and hectic. When, let's say, a store first opens and they're hiring teens for the first time, the manager will be patient and understanding with their first sort of wave of hires. But by like the fourth wave of teen hires, they're just so done explaining shit to people. But the good news is the manager and the coworkers, at least they're on your team, and they'll probably be nicer to you than the customers. Now listen, customers, they're either like overly friendly, talking about how's school going, champ, or complete nightmares who treat you like you're the CEO of Target. Why is this $4.99? I want to speak to a manager. Lady, I make $8 an hour. Do I look like I make the rules? I feel like customers sometimes intentionally ask teen hires for stuff that they know they can't fulfill. Let's say something's out of stock. They ask you, yo, can you just like check in the back, please? Oh yeah, let me just go ahead to this mystical back where we apparently keep everything you've ever dreamed of. Spoiler alert, it's just empty boxes and a mop bucket. Or like, can you give me a discount for this? Bro, I can barely give you the right change. But hey, look at you. You landed the job, you've been working, and now it's time for you to get paid. This is what you came for, bro. Let's take a look. That sweet paycheck, it's all worth it, right? Wrong. You work 2 weeks busting your ass, and then you see your first paycheck for $143.62 after taxes. Great. That's enough to buy a tank of gas and a fast food meal. Surely I'm living the dream. Obviously, the pay isn't going to be great because you're doing something very low skill. It is your first job, but these paychecks they're just not gonna cut it anymore, man. Like with the prices of like everything, $143 in this economy for 2 weeks of goddamn work, I do not think that's gonna suffice. You bring home your first paycheck, your mom's like, is that my little working boy? Hold up that paycheck. Let's get a photo of you holding it. She really does think it's all fun and games, treating me like I'm role playing. You have to understand there are real people who work these jobs. She thinks it's cute. She thinks it's cute that I made this kind of money. In your head, you're like, Mom, if you saw how these shifts were going, you'd understand why I'm not so thrilled about this whole photo ordeal.
Why are we still here? Just to suffer every night.
I've also noticed that higher-ups say just complete nonsense to try to keep the teens going, dropping motivational quotes and wisdom as a substitute for a bonus or a pay increase. You're sweating like a pig and you're wondering when it's gonna be over. Manager comes in and is like, yeah, you know, you're doing so great. I'm sure this job is really gonna build character. No, it's gonna build resentment. I don't know why they do this. My theory is that they're trying to make themselves feel better about overworking people. You could be working outside in the summer with an excessive heat warning with the sun blaring down on you, and your manager would say something like, you know what, the sun's just so good for you, like the vitamin D is so essential for hormone and the endocrine system, and you're like, I want to rip your head off right now. If it's so great, why don't we trade places? I'm down, I'd take that trade any day of the week. Sounds like you really want it. Oh, you don't? Interesting. I guess to lighten the mood for a second, there are a few tiny perks. Like if you work at a fast food place, you'll get the occasional free fries, or if you're in retail, you master the art of folding clothes, which is super useful when your mom yells about your laundry pile. No, but actually, they'll probably give you like a store discount that you can give to your friends. And although you may hate it in the moment, the stories you'll get from these experiences will be fun to tell at a later date. I think the most obvious one too is you actually can make good friends with your coworkers. I mean, if they're around the same age as you, you're probably having some interest overlap. Especially nowadays, we have this monoculture of TikTok where if you are a teenager, you are part of this culture, whether you like it or not, which does make it easier for you to bond with other people your age. You're also going to be constantly tricked into covering a shift. You know, the classic, can you cover my shift text starts off innocent, like, hey, can you take my Tuesday shift? Something came up. And before you know it, you're always the backup, you know? But the moment you ask them to cover for you, it's suddenly, oh, I'm busy that day. Yeah? Busy doing what? Breathing? Thanks for nothing, Ashley. But this will be the first time you experience one of the best feelings of all time, and it's getting paid to take a shit. When you have to use the bathroom on company time and you're using the company toilet, you will have a euphoric rush once the realization hits you mid-shit that you're on the clock. It's like one of the best feelings ever. Like, shitting on company time is like, it might be better than crack. And I haven't tried crack, but I've certainly shit on company time, and I'll tell you, it's gonna be hard to beat. And I don't, mean to be graphic and to talk about poop for too long, but like, it really is just the best kind of shit ever. If we're to rank shits real quick, I mean, I think there's obviously the shit that fixes your stomach ache, that's up there, but shitting on company time might be the best thing ever. But yeah, that's the life of a teenager with a job. It's chaotic, exhausting, and it's downright ridiculous. But hey, it builds character, or at least that's what the manager says. But let's be real, it mostly builds your tolerance for annoying people, so hang in there, collect your paycheck, and remember, it's just a stepping stone to bigger and better things, like quitting and sleeping in. So anyway, that's it for me. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a dislike, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.